Now, if I can deal with the recommendations themselves.
There
are 34, you've done 30, but I just want to deal with just a few because of time.
No, we'll come to zero in on the main ones that we all know that stick out.
Okay.
The EC held a forum to review the 2020 elections.
Yes.
This was the most appropriate forum for the NDC to bring these proposals. You don't agree?
Not under the current format. Leading up to the 2020 elections, we had a number of press conferences, a number of visits to IPAC, a number of issues. We are still waiting for someone to give us 2 recommendations or issues we put down before IPAC, which were accepted. You also have to understand that, therefore, leading up to the 2020 elections, it was a simple case as far as we were concerned at the NDC of you can have your say, but we will have our way. And we think that that is a complete movement from what IPAC used to do. IPAC has always worked on the basis of consensus. From 96 or from 94 when it was put in place. And it's important for people to understand the genesis of IPAC. In 1992, the MPP boycotted the parliamentary elections. So in Parliament, you only had a number of independent candidates, 2 small parties, Eagle and one other, and the rest was NDC. We had an absolute complete majority. And if you wanted to use the Parliament to set the rules and deal with the CIs, there would automatically be a perception of bias because we were the majority. Great minds sat down and said, we have to find a way to rectify this, to ensure that the largest opposition in the country had a voice at the table where rules were going to be made to actually deal with future elections. That gave birth to IPAC. Put under the EC, bring all the parties together, bring civil society into it, bring our development partners into it. Let's put together proposals. So you will find that between 96 and 2000, most of the changes we had in our electoral process were from the MPP's rank, the minority. And Afarijan had a knack of getting us who were majority to understand that if we were going to build our democracy, actually, you should be listening to the opposition more in those circumstances than you who actually have the power. So we moved from opaque ballot boxes to transparent ballot boxes, from ID cards without pictures to pictures, black and white pictures, from black and white pictures to colored photographs, from colored even biometric. It was when the MPP was in opposition through the Dankwa Institute that 2012 biometric was brought about. They were in opposition. It was brought about through IPAC, debated, argued, and consensus was arrived at. The idea was looked at, good idea. We didn't even have the time, but we pushed it because we wanted peace. So all these changes have been brought about through IPAC, and there was no voting. This is very crucial. There was no voting. Consensus building, if there were actually issues that came there, and when there was so much rigor, Afarijan would say, put it on the back burner. We'll come back to it again.
So the reason you don't like the idea of being invited to bring this to IPAC is that there'll be voting?
It's one of the reasons. Because we take the view that, and that is one of the major recommendations, you see, who decides who is a political party or not? The EC. And the EC cannot be creating political parties that don't. When you talk of PNC, we know what they've done. When you talk of CPP, we know. But how many some of the names I've never even heard before.